From Damian Lillard admitting defeat on yet another season, to LeBron James knowing that his team won't progress any further, here are some NBA stars who lost faith in their teams. Starting with Damian Lillard's story, which is a heartbreaking one if I'm being honest. Lillard's been one of the most loyal players in the history of the NBA, and despite his obvious talent, the point guard has refused to leave Portland. Unfortunately, for all his skill and scoring prowess, the Trailblazers have failed to provide him with a decent team, meaning that in his 11 years in the NBA, Lillard hasn't been able to truly challenge for a title, making 0 NBA Finals appearances. The best the Portland have managed under him were the conference finals back in the 2018-19 season, but he was unlucky as the team suffered many injuries and was eventually destroyed by the Golden State Warriors. Even that run couldn't inspire the front office to get in new names and build a strong squad around Lillard. And this season, after yet another failed campaign, Dame finally spoke out about his frustration. The Blazers were looking good at the beginning of the season, but having to contend with injuries meant that they quickly fell below even the play-in tournament spots. And with nearly 10 games left in the regular season, Lillard was shut down by the Blazers because they couldn't possibly make the play-in. As a result, Dame explained that as much as he loves playing and loves the competition, there comes a time when you stop putting your competitive nature out there, and has even hinted at a possible departure, which might be his only chance of ever winning a ring. But he's not the only player to grow frustrated with the franchise and lose faith. As well, James Harden left the Rockets in search of a ring. Now, Harden's story is somewhat similar to Lillard's. He too was the sole superstar on the franchise, and after years of falling short of the ultimate goal, Harden grew sick of Houston, demanding a trade. The Rockets, even with the beard on their side, were losing their edge, and a rebuild was on the horizon. But with age catching up and no ring on his hand yet, Harden had no plans of sticking around for the rebuild. He got his move to the super team that the Nets had assembled in Brooklyn, but fair to say, it didn't work out for him there either, and he's now with the 76ers. Talking about players who knew their team wasn't going anywhere, let me present Paul George and the Indiana Pacers. Unlike the Trailblazers and the Rockets though, the Pacers actually made the playoffs on many occasions under the leadership of Paul George. They were unlucky to run into the likes of LeBron James. Otherwise, they could have even gone all the way. But George knew that the team needed more quality to compete against the best teams in the division. That never happened though, and after multiple defeats in late playoff rounds, the superstar demanded a trade and got his wish when he was sent to the OKC Thunder. Later, after moving to Oklahoma City, George explained why he'd left the Pacers, saying that they were an organization that only cared about being competitive, not about winning. He further added that there was plenty of expectations and pressure from the fans, but the franchise was happy being only competitive. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out for George in the Western Conference either, despite pairing up with MVP winner Russell Westbrook. Now though, he's got another shot at going all the way with the Los Angeles Clippers, where the forward is surrounded by 2 MVPs, Kawhi Leonard and Russell Westbrook. Talking about Pauls though, Chris Paul also experienced a similar career trajectory. The point guard was drafted as the 4th overall pick by the New Orleans Hornets back in 2005, and he quickly became one of the most impressive point guards in the entire league. Not only is Paul an elite floor general, but he's also a fantastic scorer. But with his stock rising fast, the Hornets just couldn't provide him with the pieces needed to challenge. This led to the young star handing in his request for a trade with a destination in mind too, the Los Angeles Lakers, who were fresh off a back-to-back championship run. However, the then NBA commissioner, David Stern, blocked that move, only for the point guard to end up with the Los Angeles Clippers. For many, this remains one of the biggest what-if scenarios in the NBA, because alongside Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol, Chris Paul would have been the perfect fit. It wasn't to be though, and Paul's still without a ring. That said, sometimes monster deals do go through, as Kevin Durant found out after losing faith in the Thunder franchise. KD's a player who could make this list a couple of times, if we're being honest. Having had a wonderful career so far in the NBA, Durant could have been without a ring, ring if he hadn't decided to move on from the Thunder back in 2016. Yeah, he got some heavy criticism. By heavy, I mean fans and analysts genuinely tore him a new one all over TV and social media, because he wasn't just moving to a team with better prospects, he was moving to, statistically speaking, the greatest team in NBA history, the Golden State Warriors, with a 73-9 record. But it all happened because Durant had gotten sick of the Thunder's franchise falling short of the NBA Finals again and again. He believed that the Thunder wouldn't be able to keep up pace with the side the Warriors had assembled in the conference, and jumped ship to join them instead. But he liked doing that so much that this year, he did it again by joining another super team in Phoenix after ditching the Brooklyn Nets because they showed zero ambition. Let's see if he can have a similar impact in Phoenix to his Golden State days. But KD wasn't the only player who experienced success after ditching his team. Anthony Davis also has a ring after moving to the Lakers. Things got pretty bad in New Orleans for the #1 pick of the 2012 NBA draft. He was the face of the Pelicans, and it was the perfect story. A young star leads a small market team to an NBA championship. Unfortunately for the Pelicans and AD, they kept running into the Warriors super team, and with a lack of consistent help on the roster aligning with untimely injuries, AD demanded a trade. Very much like Dame, AD told ESPN that he loves the city, but from a professional standpoint, it was the right time to move on. Hopefully, Dame can also leave the Blazers and find some success, because it worked out magnificently for Davis as he won a ring in the 2019-20 season, alongside LeBron James, who knows a thing or two about losing faith too. After all, few trades have been as big as LeBron's move to Miami, but that happened after LeBron had spent years in a poor Cleveland Cavaliers team, which simply didn't have the facilities of helping LeBron to his ultimate goal of winning a championship and realizing his true legendary potential. The King was ill-advised to host an entire TV segment to announce his move, but he made his move after the Cavaliers' stubbornness to not make the necessary trades to help James in his pursuit. Credit to the Ohio native though, because after winning 2 championships with the Miami Heat, LeBron returned to Cleveland with the promise of bringing a championship to the city of Cleveland as well. And that's exactly what he did with that brilliant 2016 NBA Finals comeback against the Golden State Warriors. That's all I have on NBA stars who lost faith in their team.